Would you push for a federal law on reproductive rights for women? And do you have an answer to what period you believe is relevant for where they can exercise their reproductive rights?
No, you know, Chris, for 50 years, conservatives have been arguing that this is a state issue and that it should be returned to the states and each state should be able to make their own judgment. I believe that both as a lawyer and as a government official. And now the Dobbs case happened a year ago and said this can be decided by each state and its citizens. I want each state's citizens to decide for themselves. So in a place like Oklahoma, they have decided that they want to severely restrict abortion. In my home state of New Jersey, you can get an abortion up to the 9th month of pregnancy. There are going to be people that are offended by both sides of that argument at those extremes. What I'm hoping will happen, Chris, over the next year or two, by the time I become president in January of 25, is that all 50 states and their citizens will have weighed in, and that hopefully then we can see a national consensus forming. Then and only then do I think the federal government should get involved if there is a national consensus. And by the way, as you know, you'd need 60 votes in the Senate to put anything on the president's desk. We're nowhere near that kind of consensus now. But maybe if the citizens of our country all weigh in each of their states, a national consensus will form.
Dusty, who you got?
Got Greg. I've got Greg from Long Island. Greg from Long Island.
Strong Island. Greg, what do you got for the gov?
Hi, Governor Christie. You said that Trump's a coward for not wanting to debate you. Do you think he will show? And do you think his attendance or lack of attendance will move the polls?
Well, first of all, I think he'll show because I think his ego is much too large to say no. And if he thinks that people think he's not up there because either he's ashamed of his record and won't defend it, or he's afraid to debate me directly, I think that's something he won't be able to live with. But I will say this, Greg, if he doesn't show up, the people who are supporters of Donald Trump should demand that he show up at the next debate, because each Republican voter in this primary has the right to see all of us standing on the stage together who meet the qualifications and to be able to compare the people that have a chance to choose to vote for the next nominee of the Republican Party. If Donald Trump doesn't show up, he is a coward. That's the only excuse for him sitting in his place in Bedminster, New Jersey, and watching it on TV, rather than being a man and stand on the stage and defend his record and his conduct.
To the people in your party, Gov, who say, you know, look, Christie's a great debater, you know, he's a tough guy, but this is personal for him with Trump because he didn't get the jobs he wanted. It's not about principle, it's personal. What do you say to them?
I turned down 4 different offers from Donald Trump. I turned down being White House Chief of Staff. I turned down being the Homeland Security Secretary twice, and I turned down being the Secretary of Labor. I didn't work for him because I didn't want to. And the one issue where I did work for him, Chris, was I was chairman of his commission on the opioid crisis and drug abuse. And I was proud to do that because I care about that issue so much. We traveled the country with a bipartisan group, folks like Patrick Kennedy, Charlie Baker, the former governor of Massachusetts, Roy Cooper, the former governor, or the current governor of North Carolina. And we came up with 120 recommendations, all of which were adopted by President Trump. To Trump supporters out there, I tell you this, I worked as hard as I could to try to make him the best president he could be. But he failed me and he failed us. And this isn't personal, except to this extent. I love my country. And when my country is being ill-served by its president, like it was with Donald Trump and as it is with Joe Biden, then it is personal to me. And I want to change that and put our country back on the right path.
Hey, thank you for watching. Please go to newsnationnow.com, newsnationnow.com, and you can find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button down below. Then you will get more of NewsNation's fact-driven coverage.